Rubicon trip is less than 10 days away. So I'm down at Nocturnal Welding making some tubes for the roll cage to replace the tubes I cut out that were bent after the roll in Moab. So we've thrown our first bend in, and now we're notching the tube. That's right, you guys heard it correctly. 2 weeks till D-Day. 2 weeks until I'm going on the Rubicon. We're gonna turn it into a 3 or 4 day, I believe. I got invited on this trip. I couldn't say no. Someone else is dealing with the logistics and where we meet and when we meet and all that. So I'm just like, hey, let's do it. But I wasn't planning on doing a Rubicon trip this soon. I'm still hard at work fixing some of the issues that I generated when we were out in Moab. So let me bang through those issues for you so you can see where I stand, see what we gotta do. I have a transmission leak. I got a transmission cooler that's not working. I have a bunch of electrical problems, meaning that like brake lights, tail lights, all that aren't working. I've got a gas tank that's leaking. I have a, what else do I have? I've got a roll cage that needs bars putting in. I got a lot of stuff to do, but that's okay. I got some time and I have banged out a lot of that. I'll show you guys my progress today, but this is just to give you guys some hope. I know when you see Instagram or YouTube, it often looks like everyone's truck apart from yours is perfect and dialed. No, trust me. This thing right now, the steering is binding something fierce, so I can't even go around left-hand turns without fighting the steering wheel. And it stranded me on the freeway the other day because the gas gauge doesn't work and I had no idea how much gas I have in it. So, real world problems. But anywho, if this is your first time to this channel, that's what you get to expect. You get to see me fix stuff, break stuff, screw stuff up, roll stuff, take my family camping, take my family four-wheeling, build sweet trucks, and just have a good time. So if that sounds like something you might be interested, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click that little bell thing. You know the deal. I don't need to tell you guys what to do. Let's go get it. I'll show you guys what I got done today or this past couple weeks. And you guys can make fun of me about how long my list is. Merricks Garage. Okay, this is going to be a deep dive into Merricks Garage because I often try not to show you guys how stupid I can be with some of my wiring and other issues. So I have been hard at work dealing with this wiring nest under here. That's all you get to see. I'm not going to let you guys dwell on that horrible mess under there, but I have pulled a bunch of wires out that weren't necessary, that were redundant or for accessories that no longer worked. So that is kind of fixed. And I'll show you guys what we're dealing with the trans cooler because I did fix that too. What's happening here? This is where my backup battery goes. And as you can see, I have the thermostat and the trans line and everything coming in at this junction. And so the battery was sliding and I think it broke off one of the tabs. So I welded the tabs or soldered the tabs back together and this guy's working again. But I've been dealing with a bunch of leaking from my transmission that I just couldn't figure out. At first, I thought it was from when I rolled it, I thought that I just dumped a bunch of fluid on top of the transmission. It was slowly dripping off. But we're 4 months out now, so that's not the issue. What I did discover is my feed line, the line going to the body of the transmission. I've got two. I've got one coming in and one going out. Yeah. One of them has a 90-degree elbow on it. And when the truck, I'm guessing it's when it flopped, the transmission hit the body or hit the trans tunnel and it actually bent. So it's very difficult to see. I'm actually gonna have to cut the floor to get to it because I don't want to deal with dropping my whole trans right now. To replace this one AN fitting that the line got pinched down. So that is on my to-do list. Steering issues. This is a big one. This right here is my steering heim. It's what keeps this guy dog-legged around so it can get down to my steering box. And if you look closely, you can see fatigue marks down there on the steel from where I mounted this to the bump stop can. what exactly is going on is as the steering shaft turns, it is applying a little bit of leverage to that joint, that hymen there. And that is causing it to move like this, which causes the shaft to bind. So I need to beef up that brace because it's just tweaking the metal because there's quite a lot of force going through it. So that is a welding job that I've got to get done still. So that's on the list of things to do. The transmission obviously is a priority. But I have got a lot of this stuff already banged out and put back together, and I'm happy to report no more leaking on the gas tank. So I wasn't hoping to use this feature so soon. The modularity of the tank, skid plate, fuel pump, fuel filler combo, being able to just drop this out means that even though I can get to it in here fairly easily, I'm gonna drop the whole tank out. Here's what's going on. I don't have a good seal here on the pump, and so I'm getting fuel coming out and around, which is, you know, just messing with a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, so we're gonna pull it out. I gotta get that sealed up better and make sure that the tank can build pressure. And yeah, the easiest way to do that right now is to just drop the whole assembly out and also deal with some of the grounding issues. I think grounding issues that I've traced down to the wiring back here. I ran out of gas last night on the freeway on the way home from hanging out at the beach, and yeah, just died on the freeway. Pulled over, called AAA, they gave us some gas, we got home. Long story short, I have no idea how much gas I have in here, so I need to fix this all. There's a whole big situation. But anyway, let's drop this thing. You can see the fuel tank is out, as is the fuel pump and a lot of the wiring. I've been having some electrical gremlins where my fuel pump was not real, or my gas gauge wasn't working, my tail lights weren't working, a bunch of stuff. So I decided to drop the tank so I can see the wiring better, but also I need to seal up the tank because it has been leaking ever so slightly. And by ever so slightly, I mean quite a lot. So what was happening is I didn't have this top ring in before. I basically just had the pump going down straight on top, and then this guy went over the top of that to cinch it down. And it was just leaking all up in here. So I put this plate on. We're gonna sandwich this down. I'm actually gonna put some RTV in here and just get a good nice seal. Then we're gonna throw the pump back in, clean out the tank, and put it back in. The ohm reading I'm getting off of this circuit board is not matching up with what I need for that autometer gauge I have. So here's what I'm gonna try and do. See if I can desolder this one and reuse it. So let's go try and remove this one first. Wish me luck. This is the new GMLS pump that I'm putting in. And this is the fuel reader. So this is reading from full to empty. It's reading a lot different of an ohm range than my gauge is used to seeing from that unit right there. Now I've already desoldered it and pulled it out. So here is the one out of this sender unit. I'm going to desolder this gun, place this guy in, and fingers crossed I can get my gauge to work properly. It's going to be pretty cool. Let's see. Basically, different ohm readings indicate different levels on the tank. So your gauge and your sender need to correspond to each other. I didn't realize that when I put in this pump that the ohms readings, the resistance readings for my gauge would not match up. So I had no idea how much fuel I had. I have the new ring in, and I decided to pick up a new pump. I figured if I'm going to be putting a new pump in, if I'm putting the tank back in, I'd rather have a new pump. The other one, it was working fine. I'll use it as a spare, but it did have a bunch of stuff in the bottom of it that I'd rather not get into the engine. So a brand new pump. It's gonna go on this guy right here. I've just got to pop these off. But I'm hopeful. I think this is gonna seal well. Let me show you guys how it ended up. Now, this is probably not going to last. But what is happening is this is getting sandwiched very well. This is now tight. I think we're going to be able to control all the leaking. So let's get this guy in. So I cut out a lot of the cage because it had tweaked. Now, the cage worked when I put it in, but it was one of the first things I did. And having the seats in and the cage did not leave a whole lot of headroom. So we've made these brackets, or we've bent some tube to get the head tubes up and out of the way. And thanks to Nocturnal Welding for banging this out with me so quickly. So we're gonna replacing these. This is all gonna get gusseted in. It's gonna get tied in back down here to the roll cage. This bar right here still needs to be replaced, but I did pick up some tubing for that. And then it's gonna need to be fixed over here because you can see the distance, the gap that has grown. And then once again, all of this is gonna be gusseted in. I haven't done a ton of frame to roll cage work yet because I did want to get the roll cage dialed. I wanted to get the roll cage straight and in before I start tying it into the frame. I'm getting close to that point though. It's still a little skewed. All the tubes that we cut yesterday are all the same size. So if the roll cage was square, it would be sitting perfectly, which it isn't. So not as bad as I had expected, but there still is some manipulation to be done there. But not that big of a deal. Bending the tubes, notching the tubes, and getting them into place with somebody else who knows what they're doing was huge. It doesn't make your work twice as fast. It makes it like 3 times as fast when you have a partner who knows what they're doing. So thanks, EJ. We banged that one out yesterday. And there we have it. You can see there's a fair amount of stuff to do. I'm not too concerned about getting this stuff finished before we leave, but I am worried about making sure that it's not going to fall apart on the trail. I can throw some last minute fixes in here, but that's just not my style. So I want to get this thing done properly. I want to make sure we're not going to have any more issues, and I really want to beef up that roll cage. Really excited to finish up on the prep for this guy before we head up to the Rubicon. I've done the Rubicon once before. It's a fantastic trail, probably one of the best four-wheel drive trails in the world. High Sierras, up in the trees, boulders, granite slabs, rocks, high mountain lakes, camping. It's fantastic. So, got a couple more things to do. This weekend is going to be productive, I hope. I do have a video from when I did the Rubicon last time. It's a 2-part series, but I'll link one right up here so you guys can go check it out. Yeah, this is going to be a bucket list item for sure. And come along as I finish up the repairs, and then we head out on the trail. Merricks Garage.